Okay. Okay, board members, we're coming out of executive session here. Brittany, did you have something? Hey, we're getting to the tail end of our agenda. I believe. Zach, are you presenting the amendment? Vice Chair Brittany Cummins.
I'd like to move that we approve the amendment to the USBE contract 180056MA with Questar Assessment.
We have a motion, a second. Discussion to the motion. Seeing none, the motion before the board is to approve the amendment to
The USBE contract.
to the USBE contract number 180056MA with Questar. Not seeing any discussion, so let's vote on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. So we're going to have a presentation on the AIR contract? Okay. Patty, are you going to introduce it, or are we?
Yes,
Zach's going to do it? Okay. Zach, the mic is on.
Thank you. This is Zach Christensen with the Director of Purchasing Contracts for the Utah State Board of Education. We have contract USBE 200004MA for the board's consideration with American Institutes for Research, AIR. This is a 3-year contract for assessment that will be implemented immediately and will start assessment this fall.
Can you give that contract number again?
Yes, it is a USBE 200004 MA.
2000.
04.
Wow, that's a lot of zeros.
Yes.
I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 5?
4 zeros.
Wow, I'm right again. Wow, we better write that down. So 200004. Okay. Vice Chair Brittany Cummins.
I move that we approve USBE contract 200004MA with AIR for the assessment system platform.
We have a second. Board Member Marsh, discussion. Board Member Earl.
Yeah, I have a couple questions about the contract itself. Are you prepared to, someone prepared to answer
We do
questions?
have people, yes.
Okay, yes, you do. So I just have questions on why can we not just write our own questions? Why do we have to do a 50-50 split where AIR brings in questions and we have questions?
So this is Sydney Carter. I'm the Assessment Development Coordinator here at USBE. The portion of the contract that talks about the split is specifically referring to development of our 4th and 5th grade science test clusters or items. The 50-50 split is so we are developing items. I'm not sure on the actual developing. We're developing that 50% was AIR. it's not necessarily that we're developing those items, it's for us to keep. That's part of their bank, but we are developing items for Utah, 35 clusters each year over the 3 years of development, if that's approved, to be put into the Utah bank. But the other development would go towards helping to keep our costs down. So we're still developing items that we own, as well as developing some items with AIR that they would own that are loaned to us. But it gives us a chance to build up our bank over those 3 years to have enough clusters or items in our bank to be able to assess our students.
Would we, are we bringing in outside testing questions? Are these all, they aren't all Utah questions. I know they go through Utah process, but the questions themselves, that's what I'm,
So the questions that we're developing, and address
Okay,
Chair
please
Hanson,
continue.
the questions that we're developing are questions that we would own. We are involved in the science sharing agreement, the MOU with other states, which was approved several months ago by the board to participate in that sharing agreement, where we're resourcing some questions and some clusters from other states, because the science clusters are expensive to develop and very timely to develop a bank big enough to have an adaptive test. So we're participating in that sharing agreement. But although those items are developed with other states, they still follow our development process. So they still come to Utah. They go to an educator committee review, where the teachers say, do these align to our state standards? Do we think that the depth of knowledge is aligned correctly? And it's an accept, reject at that point. So we don't revise any other questions. It's either we accept it because they fit 100% with Utah standards and our science standards, or we reject them and don't use them in our bank. After that educator review, it also goes to a bias committee review, where educators from Utah look at the questions for bias and sensitivity issues. Following that step, it also has to go through our parent review that's legislated, where we have 5 parents that are assigned from the Senate, 5 from the House, and then 5 from the board. So the parent review also happens on all of those questions, and any question that doesn't make it through any of that review process doesn't make it into our bank.
okay. I am
You have a
familiar
follow-up?
with the parent, yeah, follow-up, please. I'm familiar with the parent review process because I was on there for 4 years, which is one of the reasons why I'm asking about outside content or outside questions, because occasionally there's inaccurate information in there, specific when it deals with government type of things. For, when they ask questions about different government things, there were a number of errors we found that were incorrect. Anyway, so that's a concern as we bring in outside versus us pulling those questions together. The other question I have, can I ask another question? Deals with psychometric measuring, attitudes, beliefs, that kind of a thing, coming off of those, the questions that are being asked, especially where they're adaptive. Are they measuring, in other words, is AIR measuring other things other than the very specific terms that we've listed? Are they gathering that data and sharing with others, even if it's not personally identifiable?
I'm not sure if Whitney's here to answer. I can. Whitney. Oh, she is here. Whitney. Do you have?
Yes, you bet. Superintendent?
Board Member Earl, are you asking if there are other things beyond science being assessed?
Yeah, in the science questions themselves. So, yeah, while we're measuring science, are there other things being measured within the science questions or being gathered from those questions? So,
Okay.
yes.
So I think the simple answer is no. It's just based on our science standards. It's just content, science content.
Do we have that written somewhere in our contract that it is simply that, and it does not?
That-
I know we're saying that, but this is what AIR, this is one of the things AIR does. They are a psychometric entity. I'm just making sure that the
So
data.
you're just wanting to ensure that there's no behavioral assessment of any kind?
That's accurate.
Okay.
That's accurate. And with that, the data is not being shared with other entities or sold, even if it's not personally identifiable, so.
I can talk about that. Oh, almost.
Okay, let me turn it back on. It was, okay. You're on.
Sorry. Good evening, Whitney Phillips, Chief Privacy Officer. In the agreement, it's prohibited from selling any of our data, whether it's personally identifiable or not. We also negotiated provisions for us to have the right to audit the compliance of that. That includes, it could include actual and on-site visit to see what their systems do.
Okay, do we have, can I ask that
Okay.
question then? Do we have something in there about not going beyond the scope of what we do? Do you know where that's located? I was looking for it, but. Sorry, thanks.
And can
I think on the
address
terms and conditions and that, they have to stay within the scope, the way that, when I read it, but I'm not an attorney. But- Okay.
Zach knows where it is.
What's that?
Which one is he? Oh, yeah, right here.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just hoping
didn't-
to address the question about what we're assessing, whether it's behavioral or something beyond. Any of our items go through a really strict process, like I mentioned, but all items have to be aligned to a standard, and the only thing we're assessing are the standards. So whether it's science or language arts or math, we're assessing the standards and nothing beyond that.
Okay, yes.
I remember writing this about 6 months ago with Zach, so it's just been a while. It's really clear in our terms and conditions, the provision number 47, the use and disclosure of data. Very clear, contractors shall not collect, use, or share data beyond the purposes set forth as follows. And then it refers to the scope of work.
Okay, what page is that on?
6 of the
Oh.
terms,
Attachment A.
attachment A.
So that's at the end,
It's at the beginning.
at the beginning. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, the motion before the board is that the board approve the USBE number 200004 MA contract with AIR for the assessment system platform. Not seeing any more further discussion, so let's vote on it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
The noes, how many noes do we have? 2. Okay, motion passes. Thank you.